Hey guys, you remember like a week ago, Disney put on this big old live stream with a bunch of chairs and there was names on the back of the chairs, but it's already kind of a distant memory. Like it got memed into oblivion, but oh yeah, Disney came out and said something like 275 million impressions or views or whatever kind of skewed metric they want to go ahead and throw out there. Oh yeah, so many people seen it, and yeah, we got chairs and names and a bunch of characters that were in films that absolutely bombed, and a bunch of names from films that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. You remember, and you also, can you please remember so you can get excited for May 26th, 2026 or something like that. Memorial Day long weekend 2026. Come on out to Doomsday to see whatever the hell we're going to do for 3 hours. It should be fun. I don't know. It's at least something it'll get some eyeballs. I still think Doomsday, there's a good chance it's going to do $1 billion, mostly because people just are baffled, confused as to what the direction for the MCU is, because this is another perfect storm. It's kind of like Snow White, but in a different sense, okay? Because, okay, you got this big Avengers movie that's coming out. We don't know anything about it. We know that there's a bunch of people that are going to be attached to it, but okay, so you got Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. Okay, that's interesting. What's his story? Well, we got Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. Okay, yeah, but like a story. What are we doing there? We got XMen. Yeah, but who's the Avengers? Okay, we got the Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four. Like, what are we doing? Like, what exactly is going on here? Okay, like we have no idea. And I'd imagine probably as the months go on and more names get added to this already bloated cast, which is what we're going to look at here, because plans exist for She-Hulk and others to appear in Avengers Doomsday, because there are a bunch of notable omissions from that big casting announcement. A lot of them that, would probably put butts in seats, but a bunch of omissions that are making people, the type of people that Disney and Marvel have been trying to target with a lot of their box office bombs in recent years, has got them upset. Hey man, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and that's what you have agitated moving forward. But plans exist, yes, for She-Hulk and others to appear in Avengers Doomsday. Reiterate that before we go into it. Trusted source close to that Park Place has revealed what could be a major flashpoint for Marvel's upcoming Avengers film. According to our insider, Tatiana Maslany is currently planned to reprise her role as She-Hulk in Avengers Doomsday. Yes, the same divisive version of Disney Plus's series, along with the Hulk, Spooderman, Wolverine, and Star-Lord. Yes, all of those were not mentioned at all in that casting call. No iteration of Spider-Man, no iteration of the Hulk. Hugh Jackman probably just simply hasn't signed on the dotted line, because there are so many other X-Men that are there, and a bunch of them. It's like, if you're going to be bringing back James Marsden and Jim Cumming, it's like, oh, and Beast, like, not to completely spoil what we're going to be talking about a little bit later, but why not bring back Halle Berry, rather? I've been talking about Little Mermaid in the context of Snow White so long. It's just Halle Bailey is the first one that comes to mind. But Halle Berry as Storm was absolutely awesome in those X-Men films. No, I'm not being sarcastic. She was great. And I shudder to think what Marvel and Disney are going to do with Storm when they do their own version of the X-Men. Can't wait for that Cynthia Erivo casting announcement to be made, because you know that they're dumb enough. And especially if Wicked Part 2, whatever the hell, and oh yeah, Wiccan also probably coming in as well, but we'll talk about that later, especially when we come to the dick-attracted individuals that were left off that casting call. But yeah, if Wicked Part 2 ends up making $1 billion or getting real close to it at the end of the year, yes, Cynthia Erivo is definitely going to be a shoo-in for Storm, but we have that tragedy to discuss in the future. We can talk about the insanity going on at the present. The information comes to us, yes, from a third-party source and should be treated as a rumor. But yeah, of course, a lot of these rumors, it's kind of like that, that leaked production art that had Planet Hulk-esque scene depicted with Scar and Hulk and She-Hulk, and then they also had some kind of Wakanda with Pride Rock in the background, but the only thing that you had was Shuri and, M'Baku from Wakanda Forever announced. And then what else? Oh yeah, you had Vision Quest. Okay, you had Star-Lord and Vision. And then you also had a round table with the Young Avengers. And stop me if you haven't heard any of these other names brought up, especially in the context of that the live stream casting announcement. The only thing that was there was Doctor Doom at the end, but in that other leaked concept image, you also had Sheriff Strange or version of Doctor Strange apparently on side with Doom, but yeah, also no Benedict Cumberbatch, and he also, like several other Avengers actors, have said that nope, I'm not gonna be in Doomsday. Don't look for me there. But at this point in time, it's like, I don't know what's going on. But this development comes shortly after a cryptic social media exchange between Marvel Studios, Robert Downey Jr., and the Russo brothers seemed to confirm that the more cast announcements are coming. And yeah, even when I talked about the original stream last week, there was immediately a Hollywood Reporter article saying, "Oh yeah, don't worry, we're going to be announcing more names as we lead up to the release of this film next year. Trust us, get tickets now." In response to the recent Avengers Doomsday cast photo reveal, Downey wrote on Instagram, "That's what you call a deep bench of talent. No, that's what you call a lot of names, a lot of expensive names on chairs. Actually, it's more like a row, but an extra long one. That must be it. ... Right? There's always room for more," Marvel responded ominously. The Russo brothers then added, "It's time." Oh my god, Bruce Buffer will return in Avengers Doomsday? Oh my god. Oh no, that's Michael Buffer. Shit, my reference is wrong. And now it seems that more might include the return of She-Hulk, because that's exactly what everybody wants. Yay, unless of course, has also been posited, because I've heard so many people talk about this casting announcement and essentially all come to the same conclusion. It's like, okay, cool, what's your story gonna be? But yeah, a way to hook us with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is if you just set up all of those, kazoo Avengers, which, yeah, if you go ahead and assemble fucking Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Shuri is Black Panther, and Christ, the fucking Thunderbolts rock up, okay? You just get the old Avengers jingle, but it's done on a fucking recorder. And then Doom, in order to establish himself in the first scene, just snaps, and they just all immediately get turned into spaghetti a la Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. That would be pretty sweet. You just go ahead and right past wrongs in the establishing scene. That would get people hooked. That would be something that wouldn't lead to a catastrophic second week drop off, because the people that were skeptical about this film going in, you'd hear, you know what, hey man, it looks like Marvel's trying to actually, change some stuff. It's not so much, oh yeah, we got rid of a bunch of activist producers and then we're producing Captain Black Falcon, America Man, and the Thunderbolts. Big changes on the horizon, guys. Don't worry, the Fantastic Four, that is written and directed by people that brought you WandaVision, that's the big change that we've all been promised, right? Right? No, that would actually do something. That would re-inspire people to come back to the theaters, but I digress. Following the series' lukewarm reception and declining viewership, talking about She-Hulk, Maslany has continued to antagonize critics, and yeah, talked about this dimwit quite a few different times, but one source also named, yes, 4 additional characters said to be appearing in a Doomsday. Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, Tom Holland as Spooderman, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. Chris Pratt has definitely alluded to it time and time again, and Hugh Jackman, I think it's essentially a certainty, especially the way that things are shaping up. And yeah, you have the entirety of the Fantastic Four. You got the Thunderbolts, you've got whatever the hell the Avengers sort of, phase 4 and 5 characters, you got them over there. And then yeah, you got the old X-Men, so you got all of these different little epochs, and it could end up being a story kind of like what the Russos did with Infinity War, where you had the Guardians and Thor over there, you had Strange, Iron Man, Spider-Man over here, you had your different little segmented teams. You had Cap and his Rogue Avengers over there. So yeah, you could be doing that again, setting everything up, but you really got to set a bunch of things up in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, I would imagine all of these guys have got to be a shoe-in, and if not for Doomsday, it will be for Secret Wars. But I take a look at that list right there, okay, and with the exception of She-Hulk, I mean, it's looking like we got a problem, a continuation of a problem that was brought about and brought to the forefront by a lot of enlightened minds, okay, a lot of steadfast MCU stance that, you know what, it looks like Avengers Doomsday is missing out on a huge opportunity. Which one's that? Okay, and we need to talk about it, guys, because you take a look at those characters that are right there, and you got Scarlet Witch and Bald Black Lady and yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're missing out on a big old opportunity, because you know what? There is a suspicious lack of women going on. Cast announcement for Avengers Doomsday is all anyone is talking about, and rightly so. Well, actually, no. Okay. Even by the weekend, most people were like, yeah, that was kind of cringe and pathetic. I don't know why it took 5.5 hours for something that could have taken 15 minutes or done with, I don't know, any kind of modicum of excitement, because, just panning over to a new chair every 10 minutes is super laborious. And I would imagine of those 275 million people, they probably just waited until the end of it and then just scrolled through. It's like, okay, what's the surprise at the end? And okay, who's actually been announced right there? Cast features returning favorites like Chris Hemsworth, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, all of the Fantastic Four, all of the Thunderbolts, sans Taskmaster. That's another woman that's being forgotten right here. And then a bunch of original X-Men like Kelsey Grammer's Beast, Patrick Stewart coming back to get killed for a third time as Professor Xavier, and oh god, okay, for as much as I've pretty much forgotten about this stupid casting announcement, Ian McKellen coming back as Magneto, it's still, oh my god, I don't want it. I really don't want it, man. Oh, it pisses me off so much. Like, I like that Ian is still going out there, still getting work. If he wants to work, go ahead and do it. But, man, we know they're going to ruin Magneto, and I don't want it to happen. I really don't want it to happen, man, because just this past weekend, surprise, I watched Lord of the Rings Extended Edition again, and Christ, man, seeing Ian in his prime playing Gandalf the Grey in Fellowship, and then I really got, man, it's tough. It's really tough for me to just go ahead and rank what I think is, or what are my favorites, because to me, all 3 chapters of PJ's Lord of the Rings, like, they're all 10s, okay? And I don't think that 10s are, perfect films or anything like that. There's obviously some issues that I have, especially with my favorite Two Towers. It's still going to be my favorite, okay? Because I think that the highs are way too high, but the lows are lower than anywhere you're likely to find in the trilogy, full stop, looking at a lot of the Ent stuff. Looking directly at you. Just running Return of the King back for the 3rd or 4th time this year, and I've really got another great appreciation. Ian McKellen's Gandalf, okay? Just the death is a new beginning speech for Pippin just before the troll comes into the upper levels at Minas Tirith. How he takes charge of the Gondor forces after Denethor completely and totally loses his mind. He's just... Man, I really got a new appreciation for Return of the King. Like, I never hated any of those movies, okay? And I don't even like any more. I don't really like one a considerable amount less than the other ones. It's just, it always gets so difficult to go ahead and rank them because they're just also fantastic in their own sense. And same thing goes for Magneto with those first 3 X-Men films. It's like the way that he was treated in those, even as flumpy as 3 is, like, Magneto is still badass in all of them. Now, I haven't seen Days of Future Past or anything like that, and I think that's the one that he came back for, and the last time we seen him was, 2014 in that film. So I don't think, and especially the way that it's been repeated to me, it's like he wasn't hurt or damaged, the character wasn't hurt or damaged at all then. I just know that, Marvel in today's day and age, they can't help themselves, and the way that the Russos thoroughly destroyed just about every character that they possibly could in Endgame, they can't help themselves. And it's especially if they're characters that they didn't work on or establish to begin with. I mean, it's no holds barred, and it's gonna be super upsetting. Okay, well, I might have legitimate reasons to be concerned about certain characters that are there. You got the likes of, like, who's this hack? Okay, Lloyd Farley. Okay, what's the biggest surprise about? What's the biggest non-surprise? The cast is overwhelmingly male. Oh my god, the MCU hasn't always done their female characters justice. Okay. And for as much as I can say, like, the Russos thoroughly assassinated just about everybody in Endgame, okay, especially of your core Avengers and how they all just basically become dribbling retards. The one that they ended up doing the best was Black Widow, okay, like, her send-off, and like, her character assassination was done in her own standalone movie, but in the context of Infinity War and Endgame, Natasha's pretty perfect. So yeah, I gotta give him big ups for that one. No. Unfair statement? No, not really. Of the 27 announced cast members, only 5 women are confirmed to be in the film. 4, if Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm is invisible throughout it. Oh, see, the leader of the MCU's Fantastic Four, which is definitely going to be the case. And is female Silver Surfer going to also be coming over? I think the big bad of Fantastic Four, another movie that we know shockingly little about the plot, is probably going to be John Malkovich's Mole Man. That looks to be the direction that they're going. But yeah, for a film that comes out, what is it, July 25th or something? It's the tail end of July. We don't know a damn thing outside of, hey, take a look at the thing he likes to cook because the actor was in The Bear. You like The Bear, right? Girls like The Bear. Come see the Fantastic Four. Christ almighty. But anyways, Kirby is likely to have a larger role in the film, but of the remaining four, it's arguably only Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, and yes, Letitia writes, Shuri, Black Panther, will play significantly into the storyline, which, yeah, Hannah, John Commons, Ghost, and Rebecca Romijn's Mystique are more likely to be lesser lights. Why would you say that? Because Ghost is about to have a starring role in Thunderbolts, and so is, well alongside Florence Pugh, and that film is going to do literal dozens of dollars at the box office, right? But Mystique, okay, like if Marvel is going to be jangling the keys, if they were going to be trying to wring out whatever juice is left in those member berries, like her version of Mystique is intensely popular, so I don't really know, man, if that's a fair analysis of things. But honestly, as bloated as this as bloated as this cast is, 27 and counting, how much are any of these characters really going to get? Like, especially if the Fantastic Four is going to be having, as a lot of people have deduced, segmented parts where you just go from team to team. She's going to have a pretty big role, okay? And especially the Thunderbolts and the way that they're positioning, stupid little not Black Widow. It's like, going to be a lot of women in charge. Okay, but I guess you probably want, that stupid cringe, female Avengers assemble portal scene. Russo brothers have said that there are more cast announcements to come, but unless the script is flipped on those female characters, there's still going to be a significant minority heading into this film. Yeah, Black Widow's probably not going to be coming back, but you take a look at a bunch of other people. Yeah, Scarlet Witch, which, broke bad and was killed off. Oh, interesting. Emily Van Camp's Sharon Carter was outright betrayed. Betrayal! She's been betrayed! Oh, and Gaia? Oh, stop it. If I say Gaia and Emilia Clarke, you'll be like, she was in the MCU? Yeah, exactly. But here's another thing, right? Like you point out, there's a suspicious lack of women in Avengers Doomsday, and we just can't have that after Disney and Marvel have been, trying to make the MCU a female brand. Yeah, like I said before, you play with fire, you get burnt. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes by trying to appeal to all these freaks that are going, yay, diversity and representation. I can finally see myself represented on the screen, unless of course you're the author of this article where you're just a pasty white ally. You want to see all this diversity and you want to see all of this female representation because you hope one day, if you're a good enough ally, one of them might touch your pee-pee, but it never fucking works that direction. And if we want to be completely honest about this cast and how it's not at all representative of the current state of the MCU, why aren't we also looking at, the TV heroes? Okay, because, Bleeding Fool, big shock on that one, also points out that women and TV heroes get the short end of the Avengers Doomsday stick because, how many, okay, because we could probably, I'd really have to stretch my memory to just name all of the different movies that have come out, and I think that they're fairly well represented, okay, because you definitely see the disconnect between the TV shows and the movies when it comes to people's understanding of the continuity. But nobody's complaining that Moon Knight, which was apparently one of the better MCU films, why isn't Oscar Isaacs in the cast? Okay, why aren't outside of Thor, why isn't any of the original Avengers there? Because most of them, outside of Cap and Iron Man, even though we got a replacement Cap, he's going to be in there, but why are none of the original Avengers there? What's Jeremy Renner doing? He had his own TV show. But yeah, all of the TV series, anybody who is established in that, they didn't get the call at all whatsoever. So yeah, it's almost like the Russo brothers are trying to tell you something here. Okay, and especially if it goes in a certain direction where Doom just goes ahead and streamlines the MCU continuity, it's almost like the Russo brothers by saying that we like to focus on beginnings, and that's what we're going to be trying to tell with this story. And it's almost like they're telling you that the TV series, they were kind of a big mistake, okay? And this influx of superfluous female characters, yeah, man, it's kind of like the rest of those characters. A lot of them are dog shit. And even the ones that you were trying to highlight, and even if you do get a Young Avengers throwback, Or you can bring in Cassie Lang and Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan, who Marvel, especially in the books, is trying to make, you know, the the main character of Marvel. How well is that working out for you? You can go ahead and focus in on all of that, but this movie is truly going to highlight by who they include and who they don't include as to what's important, what's going to be sticking around, what's ultimately going to be cut out moving forward. And if the quality of this film is anything to be trusted and anything relied on moving forward, well, by the time that Secret Wars comes around, there's not going to be that much to reference in regards to sticking around, because at best the MCU is going to get rebooted, and at worst going to end up getting shelved like Star Wars theatrical releases. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.